The Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association and your local cable provider presents Cable Reports. Join us now as Cable Reports brings you up to date on current issues facing the Commonwealth through discussions with your local legislators and other policymakers from across Virginia.
Hello, I'm LaMura for Comcast, and welcome to this edition of Cable Reports. Our guest today is Delegate Jeff Frederick. Welcome, Delegate.
Good to be here.
Delegate, why don't you tell us a little bit about your district and the constituents you serve?
Sure. Well, I represent Eastern Prince William County. It's kind of the bottom county of Northern Virginia. Not bottom in terms of where it's nice to live, but bottom in terms of geographically. And I represent the eastern side of the county, the eastern slice. That's most of Woodbridge, Dumfries, Triangle, Quantico, Montclair. I actually have the entire Potomac River. My district borders, the eastern border of my district is the Potomac River. So it's a great place to represent. It's a great place to live. I love the water. I love to sail. So I particularly like being near the water. And it's neat. Interesting about Eastern Prince William County, not many people know this, but in colonial times, Dumfries, the little town of Dumfries, which I represent, was the largest colonial shipping port in colonial days. It outdid New York and all the others.
Really?
Baltimore. And it's kind of unfortunate that now, due to all the silt coming into the river and the tributaries, Quantico Creek, which was the where all the ships came in and loaded up their cargo, you can actually walk through it now, which is very unfortunate. But maybe one day there's some talk out there of reviving the area, and maybe one day we'll see Dumfries back to its colonial glory. But it's a great place. It's a charming town. I love to represent it, as well as the town of Quantico. And then we have some great communities in Montclair and Woodbridge.
Great. Tell us a little about your constituency. You have a diverse district.
I do. We have upper class, upper middle class, working middle class. We have, I guess, the whole range. We have people in very expensive homes, and we have people in not so expensive homes, although with the real estate market the way it's been going, it seems like everybody lives in almost an expensive home now. But we've got white folks and black folks and green and orange folks too. I mean, we've got all kinds of people. It's a great diverse district. It's a neat place to represent. Represent a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans, and a whole lot of independents. But I think the values are the same. I think most people share the same values. They want to keep their taxes as low as they can. They want to have great schools for their kids to go to, and they want to have a great quality of life. And that's what I see my role here in Richmond to do, is to help protect that quality of life.
Great. Well, yesterday you had a unique day. You had Constituent Day down here.
I did. Every year. It's the third time we've done it since I've been here. We try to have our 52nd District Constituent Day in Richmond, and we invite all of the citizens of Eastern Prince William County to come down to Richmond and see their government firsthand at work. We had about 80 people show up that made the hour and a half roughly trek down here yesterday morning, found parking, and came and we had a neat program for them. We had a reception when they first arrived. I came and spoke to them for a while and took a lot of questions. I always like questions. Those are fun. And then we had some seating for them to view the session live as we were going through the beginning of session yesterday, and then they were able to get lunch. Then we had a great tour of the Capitol grounds. Next year, when the Capitol's back open again, because we're in the temporary Capitol right now while the Capitol's being renovated. Next year, they'll get a tour of the newly renovated Capitol, which should be very neat.
Oh, great.
And then we brought them out at the end of the day, as kind of the last end of the day surprise. We brought them out on the floor of the House, and they could take some pictures. And we had the Speaker of the House, Bill Howe, came down and talked with them and took some questions as well. So it was a neat day. It was a good opportunity for folks to come and see their government, their state government in action, and to learn more about it. And people had a great time. We love having them.
Well, that's a great experience and a great offering to your constituents.
Well, we enjoy doing it, and in fact today we do this back-to-back thing. Today we have outside of my office people that come to my office here in Richmond. They see lots of artwork done by students from my district.
I was going to ask you about that.
That's right. Well, we have
a little museum you have.
That's
there.
right, exactly. Well, we have all the artwork display. We ask each school in my district to submit 2 pieces of art, and they can pick that however they want. The principal can pick, or the art teacher can pick, or they can have a contest. However they want to select the artwork. We asked them to send 2 pieces of artwork to Richmond. Actually, one of my staff will actually pick it up from the school so they don't have to mail it. And we put it outside my office. And then today what we're doing is we're hosting all the kids and their parents and their principals and their teachers down here in Richmond to kind of recognize them for their artwork and for their good work and for their achievements. And that's fun too. And it really, I think, is a big motivator to kids, because a lot of these kids, unfortunately, don't have a lot of positive reinforcement, I guess, that they need
Sure.
in their lives. And we've been really touched at the reactions that some of the kids had for being invited and coming down here and then being recognized by having their artwork displayed.
Oh, that's a great experience.
Yeah, we really enjoy it.
Delegate, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the committees that you serve on?
Well, I serve on 4, and that's unique. There's not a whole lot of people that serve on 4. I have the Finance Committee, which deals with revenue measures. In the House, we have 2 money committees. We have the Finance Committee, which brings in the money, and we have the Appropriations Committee that spends it. In the Senate, of course, they have just the Finance Committee that does both. But I'm on the House Finance Committee. I'm also on the Privileges and Elections Committee, and that committee deals with election-related issues. It also deals with membership issues. It deals with redistricting when the time is to come. It also deals with constitutional issues. If we want to amend the Constitution, it deals with those issues. Also on the Education Committee. That's self-explanatory. And then finally, on the Health, Welfare, Institutions Committee. That's basically the Health Committee. It deals with all the health issues, the hospital issues. And that's been neat. Not having come here, not having any experience in healthcare fields, that's been a big learning experience, but it's been fun. I've enjoyed being on that committee. But it keeps me busy having 4 committees. On Mondays, I actually have 2 committees at the same time. I have education meeting at the same time as finance. So luckily they're just across the hall from each other, so I can shuttle in between pretty easily. What we do is we have my aide or an intern sit in the one that I'm not in, and then if I need to run to the other to vote or something like that, or if there's a controversial issue, they'll come get me, and we'll swap places and back and forth. That's how we're able to manage on Mondays. But it keeps for a busy schedule, and I'm not in my office a lot when at the beginning of session. Because of all my committee activities. I have 4 regular committees, and I think I have 4 subcommittees, and then I file a lot of legislation. I throw a lot of ideas out there, and that keeps me on the run as well.
Well, Delegate, maybe you can explain to your constituents, because it's a unique experience to have to hustle between committees. If there's a major vote coming up, how do you get up to speed real fast if you were in the other committee?
Well, usually I'm a little bit prepared before the committee meeting, so I know kind of what's going on. So even if I'm walking into the room and there's a vote about to take place, I'll kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. Of course, in the General Assembly, as you know, there are a lot of bills that we vote on a regular basis, and sort of each person has their own subject matter expertise, each member, because we all come from different backgrounds. We have different philosophy. Sometimes we have different environments that we work in and different professions. And so a lot of times, on the Health, Welfare, Institutions Committee, on HWI, for example, we have a doctor, Dr. O'Bannon, or Delegate O'Bannon. And on a lot of stuff that's kind of in the weeds on medical issues,
right.
We really look to Dr. O'Bannon for his advice because he's a doctor. He's the one who's out there. And on governance, we also sort of share his philosophy. So we can often trust his judgment and look to him for feedback on what a certain bill might do or what it might not do, and then he can kind of distill it down to something that we can now determine if that's something we want to vote for or against. And there's other areas in the General Assembly that we also look to others for the same sort of feedback and advice. I'm in the technology field, and a lot of people, when there's a technology bill, it doesn't happen very often, but when there's a technology bill, people will come to me and say, "Hey, Jeff, what's this all about? What does this do, and how does this work?" Because I'm in the weeds on technology stuff all the time, so I can kind of pick up that stuff very quickly.
Sure.